All right, my friends, we are up at the hour. Good morning. How are you guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Are you guys ready for day 2 of boot camp, breakthrough boot camp? So here we go, week 2, here we go. Are you guys ready? So today's going to be a phenomenal day. You know, as we hop on and as you guys send out those text messages to those team members that straggle in a little bit late, go on and encourage them to jump in and to join us. How many of you guys put in one in the chat group if you watched the video that I put up, which was the wisdom of the geese? How many of you guys watched that? Put in one in the chat group. Isn't that great? I mean, I think what it does is it brings you back to humanity, and it brings you back to I think, how we sort of want to act. How we want to be together as a family, as a team, how we want to play off of one another, and how important it is to actually have community, which is why it's the third pillar of our program. But once you watch that, didn't you kind of feel like, man, I kind of want to be a better person? Did any of you guys have that feeling? And so that's why I throw that up there, because for us to do what we want to do, I think in the context of this boot camp, is going to be so much predicated off of that. So just keep that in mind. Before we start to bring on some of these amazing speakers and trainers, I just want to ask you 2 questions. And you can jot this down on your piece of paper, or you could throw it in a chat, whatever it is that you want to do. But the first thing is, what are those things, if you could think of 3 things right now that you're highly grateful for, I want you to write those things down on your paper or just put them in a chat group. Just 3 things amongst the hundreds of things that you could be grateful for this morning. What are those 3 things? And I actually want you guys to do this assignment, right? So that's the first thing. So be thinking about that. And the second thing is, what drove you to get on this training call this morning? Because you could be doing a lot of things. You could still be in bed for some of those that are still out on the West Coast. Set your intentions. What are your intentions for being on this call? And every time I go into yoga, my yoga instructor, I love her. I can't stand her throughout that hour of class because she's pushing me so much. But by the end of the class, I always tell her, thank you. Thank you for making me better. But what she says at the beginning of the class is, what's your intentions for being here? What do you want to get out of this? You don't have to be here. What are your intentions? Set those foundations. Because if we're just showing up at the class just to show up with no intentionality, guess what we're going to leave with? Not much. But if we show up and we have intentions for what we want to do over those 60 minutes, and hopefully over a lifetime, then I think that we'll start to find those things, because I think we all know, if you seek, you shall. We all know the answer to that. So I want to move out of the way, and I really want to set the tone for today, because today is going to be amazing. We've set the foundations in week 1. We're going to keep building on these building blocks. But I want you guys to really start to understand who you are and who we are as Optavians and as Optavia coaches. And there's no better person to bring on to sort of help us realize that than my very own mentor, Karen Elstrom. So Presidential Director Karen Elstrom, can you come off and really set the tone for us this morning?
I would be honored to do that. And this morning, and welcome everyone. So glad you're here bright and early and ready to go. And I'm going to share a story with you. And when you're listening to this story, I really want you to listen as an Optavia coach and think about how you can relate what we do to this story and how it'll impact you. Oh yes, and you might want to have some Kleenex close by. The story I want to share is called The Teacher and Little Teddy Stoddard. Jean Thompson stood in front of her 5th grade class on the very first day of school, and she told all of her children yet another big fat lie. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said she loved them all the same and she would treat them all alike. Now, that was always going to be an impossible claim, because right there in front of her, slouched in his seat on the 3rd row, was a little boy named Teddy Stoddard. Now, Mrs. Thompson had watched Teddy the year before, and had noticed that he didn't play well with the other children and that his clothes were unkept and he constantly seemed to need a bath. And quite frankly, Teddy was generally a very unpleasant child. And it got to the point during the first few months that all she would do, she would find herself actually taking great delight in marking his papers with a big, broad red pen, marking bold X's, and then marking the inevitable F at the top of his paper. And because Teddy was such a sullen little boy, no one else seemed to enjoy him either. Now, at the school where Mrs. Thompson taught, she was required to review every child's record once in a while, and she found herself putting Teddy's off until the very last. But when she eventually opened his file, she was in for quite a surprise. His first-year teacher had written, "Teddy is a bright, inquisitive child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and has excellent manners. He is a joy to be around." His second-year teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student who is well liked by his classmates, but he's troubled because his mother has a terminal illness and life at home might be a struggle." His third-year teacher had written, "Teddy continues to work very hard, but it's clear his mother's death has been hard on him. He obviously tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will undoubtedly be affecting him if some steps are not taken." Teddy's fourth-year teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn. He doesn't show any interest in school at all. He doesn't have many friends these days and sometimes sleeps during class. He's tardy and could potentially become a problem student." By now, Mrs. Thompson had realized that there was a problem, and she felt a little ashamed of herself. But Christmas was coming fast, and with the other children and the school play, it just really wasn't until the last day of school that she was suddenly forced to focus upon little Teddy Stoddard. Her children had all brought her presents, all in beautiful ribbon and brightly colored paper, except for Teddy's, which was kind of clumsily wrapped in heavy brown paper that had clearly been on a shopping bag. Mrs. Thompson took the pains to open it in the middle of all the other presents. And as she did so, some of the children started to laugh when she found an old rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones actually missing from it, and an old bottle that was a quarter full of perfume. But she stifled those children's laughter when she exclaimed how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume onto her wrists. Teddy Stoddard stayed behind that day just long enough to say, "Mrs. Thompson, today you smelled just like my mom used to." After all of the children had left, Jean Thompson cried. She cried for at least an hour. On that day, the last day of school before Christmas, Jean Thompson quit teaching reading, writing, and mathematics. Instead, on the first day of the new term, she began teaching children. And Jean Thompson paid particular attention to the child they all called Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind seemed to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. On days where there would be an impromptu test, Mrs. Thompson would always remember the smell of that perfume. By the end of that year, Teddy had become one of the smartest children in his class. And well, he had also kind of become the teacher's pet. The pet of the teacher who had once stood there in front of all those children and vowed to love them all just the same. A year later, Mrs. Thompson found a note passed under her classroom door from Teddy, telling her that all of the teachers he had in the whole primary school, she had been his very, very favorite. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He wrote to her saying that he now had finished secondary school. He finished third in his class, and she was still his favorite teacher of all time. 3 years after that, she received yet another letter saying that while things had been tough at times, Teddy had stayed in education. He had stuck with it and would be graduating from university very soon with the highest of honors. And of course, he assured Mrs. Thompson that she was still his favorite teacher of all time. 5 more years passed, and yet another letter came, this time Teddy explained that after he got his degree, he decided to go a little further. The letter explained that she was still the best teacher he had ever had in his entire life, but now his name was a little longer. The letter was signed Dr. Theodore F. Stoddard. But the story didn't end there, you see. There was yet another letter later that year. Teddy, Dr. Stoddard, said that he'd met this girl and they were to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago, and he was wondering if Mrs. Thompson might agree to sit in the seat that would have been usually reserved for the mother of the groom. Well, of course she did. She wore that bracelet, the one with several stones missing, and she wore the perfume that little Teddy Stoddard had given her in the clumsily wrapped Christmas gift all those years ago. And on that special day, Jean Thompson smelled just like, well, just the way Teddy remembered his mother smelling on their last Christmas together. They hugged each other, and Dr. Stoddard whispered in Mrs. Thompson's ear, "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." Mrs. Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you." Never underestimate the impact your actions or inactions may have on another person's life. There are so many parallels in this story. Did you hear it when you were listening through the ears and heart of an Octavian coach? We impact the lives of others. We reach out and learn about people. We show how much we care and believe in them. We listen to their story. And isn't often their story different than what we think it is? Just like Teddy's. Be interested. Pouring our love and energy and hope and caring into others, watching people come alive in ways that they never dreamt of or they stopped dreaming about. Isn't it true? Don't you see that every day? And just like Mrs. Thompson said, the bigger blessing is really for us, because everyone that we pour into with love and caring and showing them how their lives can be different really does teach us that we can make a difference. It inspires us to be the best version of us, to become better, to become truly unstoppable. You guys, we are in a life-changing business. And not only the lives of those around us and those we come in contact with, but our own lives. How different is your life now than when you started your Optavia journey? And it's only going to get bigger and bigger. There is no stopping us when you have a heart to make a difference in the lives of others. So live it big, make a difference, leave a legacy. I like to think of, I made a difference in the life of every person I touch. It doesn't matter if they're a client or a coach. Anyone in your world, every single person you touch, you make a difference. So when someone, and you know this, many will say, "Thank you for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I can make a difference." And in your heart, you can respond, "You have it all wrong. You are the one that's teaching me that I could make a difference."
Can you guys feel it? You guys see what I'm talking about? Karen, thank you so much for setting the tone. And I think we're all in that state now to where we can feel it and we understand sort of what's happening here. Not only what Optavia, but what's happening inside of us. So you guys ready to get to work? Can we get to work now? All right, so I want to bring on Don Maydale. You know, we named this boot camp Breakthrough for a reason. And what Karen just did is part of what's helping us break through. I believe that this business is very simple. And for your notes, for all of you guys that are taking notes, and your intentions is to get something out of this, not just to be here, just to be here. But there's only four foundations of this business. And what do? We acquire clients, we support those clients really well. We acquire coaches and we support coaches really well. That's the basics of this business. It is very simple principle, but we can make it a little bit challenging because we need to break through some things. So I want to bring on Don Maydell to really dive into this and to really, lead us to that next step. And how do we begin to break through? So Don, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Couldn't be
So, I had to listen to the Teddy Studdard story a couple of times, knowing I was going to follow that, so I wasn't like in complete tears as I listened to that story. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what a breakthrough means. We're in a breakthrough boot camp. So what do you need to break through in order to be successful with this and really impact lives? The first thing we all need to break through is fear. That's the number one thing that's going to hold you back from really, really being able to impact lives is fear. Because when we first talked to people about this program, when my coach talked to me, I had some fear. I had fear that it wasn't going to work for me. I had fear that maybe I wasn't going to be able to achieve my goal. I had fear that, maybe I wouldn't be able to do the program. And so I just trusted her a little bit. She said, just trust me. And so I jumped in and I went on program. I had quite a bit of weight to lose. I had some medications to get off of. And so I trusted the process, and I lost 19 pounds in 19 days and 24 the first month and over 75 pounds in about 4.5 months. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. And, I was able to start helping my mother. And so I had this aha moment that man, this program, it works for me. Maybe it can work for someone else. And I started helping my mother and my wife, and I helped my mother at 73 years old lose 32 pounds and get off of 2 medications. And so then one day my plumber stopped by and he said, man, look at you. You're like half the man you used to be. I said, I know, isn't it amazing? I've been on this journey to health. It's just been incredible. He goes, well, I want to do it. And I said, well, you do? Okay, great. And I lost 30 pounds. And so I just started wanting to help people. And so I reached out to my coach and I said, how do I help more people? And we put a plan together. And in the month of December, I was able to start impacting 25 lives. And it was incredible. And I thought, oh my God, this is an amazing gift. I can get people healthy. But then there was that moment, that day when I realized that the real gift was not what was inside that box. The real gift was what was outside that box. And this coaching opportunity, this ability to impact lives, to change lives, to transform lives, to pour into others, just like Gene did to Teddy, And the gift that I was giving to people was awesome, but the gift I was getting in return was amazing. And I just wanted to do that more and more and more. And it's, I think part of the thing is with this program and with coaching, we get impatient. And we don't have the patience to wait because we want that outcome. Because in today's society, we live in a world where it's all about ease and comfort and instant gratification. And if we do this and grab this, then we'll feel this way. And so, but if you knew what the outcome was, could you have infinite patience? Because if you knew that if your goal was to lose 100 pounds and you knew you were going to get to that 100 pounds, you could be patient because you knew what the outcome was going to be. But a lot of times we go, well, my journey's not this. And what I've seen this person do this. And that comparison is the thief of joy. Take joy in the journey that you're on. Don't let comparison steal that joy from you. Enjoy where you're at. Enjoy the journey. And as a coach, enjoy that journey. We get so caught up in the outcome and pushing, and we want this to happen now. And just take joy in it and know that you'll get to the outcome you want if you just stay. Just like the program. If you just stay, you'll get to where you want to go. And the coaching is the same way. If you just stay, you'll get to all those things. You'll achieve all those things, because the one thing I've learned, one of the big breakthroughs I had in this is that anything's possible. There's nothing that's unrealistic anymore. There's nothing that's impossible. Like I said last week, impossible is not a word. It's just an excuse not to try. And so what I want you guys to realize today, and hopefully you got from the Teddy Stoddard story, is that you realize that you have a chance as humans to be part of the miracle process. Gene created a miracle in little Teddy Stoddard, and you have that same opportunity to create miracles. Because of your story, you can give hope to someone that maybe they can change too, that maybe they can achieve, and you can reach back and pull someone out of that dark place, out of that place of hopelessness, and you can start to give hope to that person. And when they start to change their life and their life starts to transform, they're going to go, oh, thank you so much. And you're going to get these incredible texts and these incredible stories that are going to happen as a result of you reaching back and putting yourself out there and living out loud and telling them what happened with you so that that can happen for them too. And they're going to think, oh my gosh, I owe you so much. And you're going to turn around and you're going to say, just like Gene said, no, I'm the one that owes you. Do you know how much you've given to my life as a result of allowing me to participate in your journey? It's an amazing thing, and you don't want to miss that. So live out loud. Help as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, I know someday I'm going to see his kingdom come. And when I do, all I want to hear him say is, welcome home, my child. Well done. I don't want to give up any of the gifts that God has given to me. I don't want to miss any of the things that are available. I want to live well, and I want to help others live well too. And every single one of you has been given amazing gifts from God. And it's up to you to nurture those gifts. You may have the gift of leadership. You may have the gift of hospitality. You may have the gift of nurturing. But you all have special gifts. And this program will allow you to grow and change, because you're going to come up against obstacles. And there's going to be fear that's going to stop you from wanting to walk through that obstacle. But if you do, that's how you're going to grow. Because if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. If you don't change, you can't grow. You can't grow, you can't help more people. The more you grow, the more lives you're going to impact, the bigger difference you're going to make in people's lives, and the bigger difference you're going to make in your own. So go out there, live out loud, share this with complete abandon, with complete recklessness, help as many people as you can, and watch how your life starts to change. All right, everybody, are you excited?
I'm ready to go, man. I just need Don to be around me every single day of my life. Don, thanks so much. You know, Don has such a servant heart. He's going to be teeing off today, and we said, Don, can you hop on? He was like, yeah, I'll do it from the golf course. So isn't that one of the beauties from what it is that we do? So, Don, really appreciate you. And one thing that I love that Don talked about is the stories. And, you know, the stories is what sets you and me apart. The stories is why we really dive in and figure out someone's why before we just give them the how. We want to invest in their lives. We want to invest in their stories. So today we're going to dive in a little bit more and talk about these stories. How can we share this with reckless abandonment like Don talked about? And how can we share little bits and pieces of our story so that we can go and influence and touch more people, so they can start the miracle working process, as Don talked about. So I just want to share some slides with you. I want to set the tone and set the foundations for what's going to come next as we bring on fully integrated business coach Priscilla Allen after this section. But I want to show you, because your business moves in steps. Okay, write that down, please, on your piece of paper. My business moves in steps. Now, the great thing about Optavia is we know how to show you step by step how to move in those steps, just like our clients. Your journey as a client moves in steps. You know, generally it starts with the weight loss, and then once we get there, the steps are transition, and then we move into optimizing. Your business moves in steps as well. So we want to make this clear to you by the time that you get off. So take some notes. Hopefully you guys can see this, and let's rock it out. So I am going to try to, oh man. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to have to move this over here, because this has a tendency of doing this sometimes. Okay, so as I'm getting this up, put in the chat 1 to 2 things that have sort of impacted you so far this morning. And maybe, hopefully, this whole experience of you as a coach is about breakthroughs, by the way. I know we think it's about clients and coaches and all that stuff, but it's really about you becoming more and growing more. So let me see if I can get this up. Okay, I think it's working on this screen. So here's the deal. I want to show you this really fast, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but we have foundations to what makes a highly, highly successful coach. Even though there's 10 on here, I really only want you to look at this one right here, and that's number one, a heart and a mission to go out there and serve as many people as you want. And why am I talking about this? Sometimes coaches can kind of get in a state to where they don't really understand what sort of business they have. There are two sides of your business. One side is the transformational. That's everything that we have done for the last 25 minutes. Another side is what we call transactional. That it's the things that it's going to take to really build revenue, let's just call it, to really build your income. And so there's two very, very specific sides. But what I want you to understand is never forget the number one foundation. The first foundation is what? A heart to help people. So sometimes, we assume that you understand this. And so as we start to talk about other things like we're about to, we do it in a context with you understanding that, yes, we understand that foundation number one is what? A heart to help people. So as why is this thing not moving? Oh, can you guys not see this? Are you guys trying to tell me something? Blank screen. All right. Okay. So then, give me one moment here. Well, what I said was really good. Did that sound good? I sound like I kind of knew what I was talking about. I faked you out. I don't really know this stuff. Let me see here. Let me see if we can get this thing to work. Okay, while I close this up, let me shut this down. Shut this down as well. Let's see if this will work. You know what we'll do is let me come back to that. Why don't we bring on Priscilla Allen and let her really dive into, last week we got into the 3x3x3. Wasn't that helpful? I wanted to come back and dive even further into the 3x3x3. So Priscilla Allen, why don't you come on and really start to show us how to start to share this story with even more reckless and abandon. Are you there, my friend?
I am here.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Excuse my deep voice. I'm struggling with a sore throat right now. So my husband's loving that my voice is deeper than his, which I'm not liking, but it is what it is. Let me share my screen with you all. Okay. Present. All right. Can you guys see this? Jamil, I can't see anyone, so.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Priscilla Allen, and I am a certified health coach with Optavia, just like all of you. And I'm really, really excited today to just share with you all about making connections, right? We constantly hear about the 3x3x3, sometimes the 5x5x5, sometimes the 10x10x10. It all depends on how quickly you want to accelerate your business. But this formula is seriously the formula that I believe that every single, fully certified business coach has utilized to really, accomplish their goals and continue accomplishing their goals. And what I love about, the 3x3x3 is that it gives you a very simple breakdown on what you have to do. If you're organized and you have a paper, you see everything. You see how many posts you've posted. You see who you've contacted. You see who you've added and who you've started conversations with. So let's get started. What does the 3x3x3 really break down to? This is normally 3 social media posts, right? I'm going to get into the technicality of this before I get into the transformational side of this, but this is 3 social media posts. We love to live our lives out loud. Don was talking a little bit about how Don was sharing his story about how, living our life out loud can really, really inspire and attract people. And honestly, when I just became a coach, I couldn't really understand this. Like, I didn't want to share my life with people. I had so many concepts in my head, and I was like, I don't want to post pictures about my family, but then if you just post before and afters, it's like, it looks just like a business, just like any other business. And so I really struggled with this. And one of the things I feel like I had an aha moment once talking to Jamil was, people are really, really passionate to hear your authentic story. Today in our information age, right? There's so much fakeness on social media, right? I love seeing those before and after posts of like what real life is like versus social media life. And what we constantly see is social media life. So in today's age, people are honestly craving to see authenticity, craving to see something real. And we have the most powerful platform in today's age to actually really show that to people. That is what's going to attract people to you. That's what's going to attract an audience to you. It's when you show that you truly, truly are real with people. So these are basic components of what 3 posts would look like. Family life, a before and after, and anything that interests you. The next 3 for the 3x3x3 would be your conversations. You can start a conversation. It could be a birthday message. Hey, so-and-so. One of the things that I love to do is I never write on people's walls, happy birthday, because that will just fall into the funnel of everybody else saying happy birthday, happy birthday. So I love to message them and be like, hey, Sarah, like, happy birthday. Are you doing anything fun today? Or, oh my goodness, I missed your birthday yesterday. What did you do yesterday? What was fun yesterday? Following up on likes or comments. Maybe somebody likes a picture. Maybe somebody comments on a picture and be like, Sarah, thanks so much for commenting on my picture. Yes, Jackson is getting older. How are you doing? What are you up to these days? And starting conversations based on those comments and those likes. Going through your friends list, start with a specific letter. I don't know, sometimes you can click on J and see everybody who's there, and you can just start conversations that way and spark some engagement with them, whether on their posts, or you private message them, and you get these conversations going. Then we talk about 3 connections, right? We talk about suggested friends on Facebook. Unfortunately, some of us don't have that tool where, you have suggested friends. I'm one of those. And in the beginning, I used to use that as an excuse. Like, I was like, well, it doesn't show me any suggested friends. So it is what it is. I'm not going to friend anyone, right? But I started going, into, if that is your problem, I started going into the communities I'm a part of. I went to APU. So I have many friends from Azusa Pacific University that I'm not friends with, that I have mutual friends with them. And I started going through all those people in those communities and then seeing I had mutual friends with them and then adding them that way. So you want to consistently add friends. You want to consistently expand your audience. You want to consistently expand your friends list so that you have more people that see what you're doing and you have more people to connect with. Another one I think for me is now recently been one of my favorite is people you encounter in your daily life. It doesn't necessarily have to just be social media. Bring them to social media so that they have, they have a view of what your life looks like, but it doesn't have to be that way. Whether it's someone you find, at a teller at a bank or a one of the cash registers at the grocery store, or your doctor or your nurse, there's so many people that we encounter, the mailman, sometimes I sit there and I'm trying to write my list and I'm concentrating on the list, and then the mailman comes and I don't even think about him. And then I go to the grocery store and I'm still trying to think about that list. I'm trying to think about that list. And then there's that cash register that I see all the time, but I don't have her on my list. So there's so many other ways to also make lists, and don't just fall on it being Facebook, like go out there and make authentic, real connections with real people you see and you encounter every day. So more about stories, right? It's all personal. Whatever you post about, it's all personal. It's your story people want to see. Whether you're on the 5-in-1 and you made this bomb lean and green recipe, or you posted this that you're so proud about your lean and greens, post about it. People want to see that. Post about your family, post about your relationships, post about fitness if you're into fitness, faith if you're into your faith, fashion, community, travel, hobbies, business, before and afters. There's so many things we can post about. So if in the mornings you're like, oh, what do I post about today? Take a screenshot of this and, pull something out of this and just find an idea. People just want to see what we're doing. And it doesn't matter if people are not posting every day and, you're not seeing, well, they're not not posting every day. Yeah, but they're looking at your stuff every day. Even though they're not posting every day, they're looking at your wall and what you're posting. So here are so many ideas you can use. So I'm going to give you guys a few examples of what my wall looks like, right? We want to make sure we brand ourselves. That is really important. As business owners, you know, we have the best platform ever. Back in the day, people had to pay for advertisements, right? On the freeways, right? On the 210, you're driving down the freeway and you see all these advertisements. People pay a ton of money for that, or for the buses, or for the bus stops, right? But we have social media and it's free. So take advantage of it and brand yourself as a coach. Live your life out loud and share with people what people are craving to see. So as you can see, I shared about my family life here. My daughter's starting school in a couple of weeks or so. And I shared this, and tons of moms like just went in and loved it and messaged me, and people from my church, right? So share about your family life, community life. You guys, there's so many people craving for community. There's so many people out there craving for community. And I didn't realize how badly people crave it. But there is people out there that are lonely, looking for what we have. Post about your community. You know, if you get together for a healthy happy hour, if you get together, you know, for a coaching event, if you get together with your coaching team or with others, post about community life and just say how fulfilling that is, you know? So as you can see, I have examples of my Wednesday breakfast meetings with our people here in Monrovia. Be authentic, be honest, and be real. This is probably one of the most vulnerable posts that I ever shared with anyone on social media. And literally when I pressed send, my finger was shaking. Like literally, I was like, I don't know that I'm doing the right thing, but I know that I'm going to speak to somebody's heart. And I shared about how, you know, a few years back, starting when I was 15, actually, and I went to the doctor, you know, they told me there was a 95% chance I could never have a baby. And that traumatized me. As a teenager, you're not thinking you need to worry about that. But even though you're 15, you're 16, you're like, oh man, like I'm not going to be able to have kids. And I grew with that stigma in my life. And I shared that. Do you have any idea how many moms reached out to me and ladies reached out to me and thanked me so much for my post? One of them even said, I'm in tears right now because my life just resonates with yours. And so being authentic, being honest, and being real in this information age where there's so much fakeness on social media, where there's so much pretend to be on social media, this hits home to so many people. So be authentic, be honest, and be real about what's going on in life. Because if we just post the dandy stuff about, oh my gosh, my life is great ever since, you know, I became a coach. My life is great. My life is great. People are going to be like, come on, dude, be real. This is one of those real posts. Another thing is healthy recipes, right? Again, I love to center it around my coaching business. You know, I put in the bottom from my peeps on program, right? So people know, oh, yummy. They actually eat healthy stuff on program. It's not just whatever weird stuff that Priscilla sells. You know, they actually sell healthy stuff, blah, blah, blah. So always try to cater these things around what your business is about. Inspire others. You know, I was telling Jamil last week that I was Facebook stalking a ton of people, you know, from other organizations. And I told him I couldn't get off their walls. I wanted to read and read and read and read and read and read. And I was like, oh my goodness, you know, and inspire people instead of, you know, bringing down people or, you know, bringing politics into the story. Inspire people, you know, tell people to thank themselves for how far they've come or whatever, you know, and people look forward to your posts because this is not something that's always written down on social media, you know, so inspire others. Do live videos. You know, there's so much content we learn about here, you know, in our boot camps, you know, in our trainings with our mentors. There's so much we learn about. I remember Justin posted once a video a year ago in our ED teams about the 5-second rule, how we have 5 seconds to get out of bed and do something, actually get into action. It takes you 5 seconds. It doesn't matter what your goal is, but it's 5 seconds it takes before your brain convinces you not to do it. That can apply to so many areas of our lives. And boom, I made a video out of that. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, how does Priscilla learn all these things? Well, it's our boot camps, you know, it's our personal development, it's our team, it's our community, everything we learn here. So starting conversations when adding friends, right? You want to start conversations with people. I always look through people's Facebook walls before, I start something, and I just talk to them. Andy, how are you? It's been forever since our APU days. We started our conversation, never spoken to Andy before, saw him in a class, we never spoke. Miriam Caldwell, she added me on Facebook, and then I noticed that she was selling some sort of product. So I was like, hey, you're an entrepreneur. Just like me. I love it. It started a conversation. It led to a health assessment. She's a client today. So all these conversations that you start with people, just because they sell something, or you're like, well, I don't know that she's going to want this. She seems to be selling some sort of keto coffee stuff. People are looking for what we have, and sometimes they won't reply to you. Like Blake, I asked her how she was doing. I started with, hey, I love your name. It's so cool the way it's spelled. Never heard from her. It's okay. I'm going to layer her. Starting conversations from your likes on before and afters. This girl liked one of my pictures, and I was like, hey, thank you so much for showing so much love to my girl, Abra. What did you like most about her story? One thing I loved that Monica Villarreal shared with me was always ask open-ended questions. I didn't you like her story? No. What did you like most about her story? Right? So she begins to share what she liked most about her story. And then boom, she's like, you know what? I actually need kind of help. I've gained some weight, and I'd like to know, maybe we can talk about this. Led to a health assessment, another client, just because she liked my before and after. Take advantage of those before and afters. Making connections outside of social media, right? This guy, Francisco, we were in the elevator, and he was this spunky guy that we literally went down 3 floors. It was my husband, me, and him. And when we came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I love your vibrant personality. What do you do for a living? Well, I go to school, and, I take food to people, whatever. I said, okay. I'm like, would you ever be interested in an entrepreneurial opportunity? I'm into the health industry as well. I love that you're passionate about health. Are you interested in this? Yes. It led to a coach candidate call from a guy that went down 3 floors in an elevator, and then Tasha, my new friend yesterday at Macy's, she shared something. She talked to me about how her energy level was so low, and then boom, I said, hey, I have a solution for that. I'm a health coach. I teach proper nutrition, with healthy habits. Maybe we can talk. Maybe what I do might benefit you, And so just finding always an opportunity to hear where someone can benefit from our program, because it's not just about weight loss, right? We coach healthy body, mind, and finances. So Francisco is interested in coming into this through the financial door. Tasha is interested in the healthy body portion. All people I never met. Making connections outside of social media is so, so important. Okay, so overcoming this personal chatter about the 3x3x3, the power of authentic connection, you guys, is just insane, right? I told you guys in this information age, people are craving real. People want real stuff. Be real with people. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I love hearing this one, but it's so true, If you're just posting before and afters and posting before and afters and not posting anything else, people are like, there he goes again with his story or something else he's selling, Someone is looking for what you have. You have a gift in your hands, guys. Somebody gave you that gift. Don't be selfish. Give it out to others. Others will always talk no matter what. So whether you post 3 times or you don't post 3 times, people that talk about you will talk about you. It doesn't matter. They will talk. So go and be an inspiration to someone else, because someone is craving what you have. Just go out there. You don't know how to be an inspiration? Go to Jamil's page and see what he's doing. Go to the Bombas pages and see what they're doing. If you met other coaches on Facebook, go stalk their Facebook pages and see what they're doing and see how they're inspiring others. So quickly, I want to run through, I have just a couple minutes, but quickly I want to run through what you tell people, when they are interested in something, right? If somebody posts on a before and after, hey, tell me more about your program. Here's something, take a screenshot of this. Hey, I'm so glad you reached out. I'd love to share about my program. What's a good time in the next day or two for us to chat? We can discover if it's a good fit for you or not. My number is this, what's yours? I would say don't put the number down, because once I did put the number down and they said, well, I'll call you, right? Ask for their number first if you can. So that is really important. Second, we get a lot of people ask us, what's your program called? We have so many different programs. We have the nursing mothers, we have the 5-in-1, we have the 3-in-3, we have the gout, we have, so many different things, the diabetics guide. So we have several different paths available depending on what you want to accomplish. It's too much to text and it won't make it justice. So let's hop on a quick call and we can chat for a few minutes. I'll hear your goals. The call will take about 20 minutes, and just let them know what works for you in the next day or two. So make sure you lock a time. Hey, does tomorrow between 4 to 6 work, or day after between 1 and 7? How much does it cost? The famous questions. Well, like we said, we have several different, programs available depending on what you want to accomplish. So let's get on a quick call. Let's hear your health goals. Then I'll recommend something. And then, we can talk about price then, right? We do not want to give price to people over the phone or over Messenger at all. I'm super duper busy. Can you send me your website? I don't have much to send you. My website is for my current clients right now, but our call will only take about 20 minutes. So let me know when you can chat on the next day or two to jump on a quick call. Guys, we don't want this to just be a diet for people. We want this to be a true lifestyle transformation. And again, by making an authentic connection, by showing people how much we really care about them and their why, is going to make all the difference in price. If they don't respond after inviting them to the health assessment, hey, so-and-so, just checking in, want to make sure you got my message and see if you still wanted to connect with me, right? If they ignore you and they say nothing, break up with them. I love the breakup method. Break up with them, because they'll come back to you. Hey, so-and-so, I don't mean to bug you. I don't want to keep bugging you or anything, but you know what? When you are ready to do this, reach out to me. If I reach out to you again, I'm just reaching out because I want to know more about you and how you're doing. But when you're ready to talk about this specifically, reach out to me, okay? Hope you have a beautiful day. They'll reach out to you. I promise. So my tips to end this quickly is, one, just kind of summarize everything I talked about. Be real on social media. Be you. Aim to inspire people on your wall. People will know who you are by what they see on your wall. Aim to inspire people and aim to bring the entire trilogy and bundle it up together for people. Consistently expand your list, whether people from mommy groups, makeup groups, hiking groups, people you meet in person. Consistently add people onto your Facebook. Move the conversation to the phone. Don't leave anything on Messenger. Don't try to write everything on Messenger. Move it to the phone. Share your story with passion. People can see what you're talking about. Share it with passion, because you are here for a reason. Your life is changing, and that's why you became a coach. So share it with passion. Don't try to get people or hook people. Every morning, wake up and ask yourself, who am I going to serve today? Who am I going to help today? Versus who am I going to get, or who am I going to hook? All right? Be consistent. Do the work no matter what. No matter how you feel, do it anyway, because your goals do not care how you feel. And have fun, or you're not doing things right. All righty? I hope you all heard everything I said, because I couldn't see anyone.
Oh, we heard it. More importantly, we felt it. Didn't I tell you guys to get some water out? Because what we were going to bring today, you guys didn't like my little cheesy line, huh? I stayed up all night thinking about that line, but I was serious. And the best thing I love about what we do is, how much are you paying for this? Step by step, showing you step by step how to go out there and impact more people. How much did you send an invoice anywhere? I'm telling you, man, Priscilla, you brought the fire. So here's the deal. I told you there's 4 foundations of your business, right? We acquire clients. If you do, one of the things that we talked about last week is the power of consistency. So my promise to you is, if you do this 3x3x3 thing, the way Priscilla just explained, step by step, and if you do that every single day, there is absolutely no way that over the next 2, 3, 4 months, your funnel of clients have not exploded. There's no way at all. I don't care. It would be like someone telling me the 5-in-1 doesn't work. It works if you do what? If you what? Put it in the chat group. It works if you what? It works if you what? There's absolutely no way. If you just do what Priscilla talked about and you get out of your own way and you break through, there's absolutely no way this will not work. I promise you. All of us on here over the next 3 or 4 months, our funnel of clients can be so huge. We could be supporting and impacting and helping other people break through at such a high level. It's scary. Priscilla, you just brought the pain. So if we know we acquire clients, the next foundation is we're going to support those clients really well, right? And so that's what I want to move into. And in the spirit of what's the word I'm looking for? Of transparency, we're going to go over today. Are you guys okay with that? I know you guys got busy lives and probably stuff to do on Saturday, but we're going to go over probably a good 15 minutes. But what we will do to make up for that is I will stay on at least another half an hour after that and some of these trainers to answer any questions you have. Is that a fair deal? Okay, so I want to bring on Casey Abansky to really now tell us, now that we know how to acquire as many clients as we want, how do we actually support these clients? So Casey, my friend, are you here?
I am here.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I was going to say, after these speakers, you guys, checks are probably in the mail. So just look out for that. Just kidding. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys and we will get started. All right. So let's talk a little bit about systematic client support, because we've been talking a lot about systems, right? All right, so making sure, we probably got a little bit of a delay. I apologize with the screen, just working on that. Okay, so why do we want to give solid client support? Well, we want to do this well, right? Because this is what we're paid to do, and we're paid very well, very handsomely. Wouldn't you guys agree? Put a 2 in the chat group if you guys think that we get paid awesomely as being health coaches, and probably overpaid, right? So we want to be able to do this well. So why do we want to do this? Well, we want to do this and we want to be professional because people trust us with their lives. They're trusting us with their health and their hope for a brighter future for not only themselves, but also for their families. So not only are you impacting these people's lives directly, but you're also helping them have better lives with their families. Like, how awesome is that? We want to make sure that we're doing this and we're duplicable. The goal is, for us to really coach a reasonable amount of people and help those people, but then it's really to help others, then help others. Does that make sense? So it's just that ripple effect, because the more people that we're helping, then basically they're going to pass that on because we're making this more of a duplicable business. And it's not taking a lot of our time or theirs. Quality. We want each person to be served well and to feel valued. Because of the importance of their journey to them. Think about when we first started this. Go back to when you first started this program. And did you feel value? Did your journey was important to you and that was celebrated with you. So we want to be sure that we're providing that same quality of service. We're in the service industry, guys, to these people individually. Quantity. At first I only wanted to help a few people, just kind of pay for my food, but then it grew because I had so much fun with it and I was just seeing how it was changing people's lives. And this grew with my desire to help more people. So when you coach with quality, okay, and these other components, then you have the ability to help a greater quantity with that systematic approach. So next part is giving a quality health assessment. Emily Flores did a great job with this last week, guys. So I'm really only going to touch on this briefly. But when she talked about it, she talked about being prepared. So finding a quiet area with the health assessment where you are able to give this person your full attention. They are trusting you. They are sharing their heart with you. So really take that time to be respectful of them and make sure that you have your full focus on them. Get a good picture of what they want. Take great notes. One of the things that I also have learned, this is a skill, and I did a Facebook Live on our group the other day, is listen to understand, not respond. Okay, so one thing that you can do to practice this in everyday conversations with people. But one thing that I was taught a couple of years ago that I found so helpful now is after someone, finishes a sentence, maybe wait about 3 seconds after they stop talking. And then, you can give your input with maybe another question. Again, we're listening to understand. Be more interested than interesting. Okay. Offer value. So you guys, we have 4 components to our program. It's not just the fuelings. So share all 4 of those equally, because what's going to happen is that's just going to show people that this is, not weight loss. We truly are just a lifestyle change company and organization and community, and we're here to support them with their individual goals. Starting them off well. So Optavia, there's been kind of a little bit of back and forth with sending a welcome email, because evidently Optavia now sends one. I just learned this, but I suggest sending it yourself. Why not get 2? Then that they get it. And I always kind of set the expectation, hey, check your email. I'm going to be sending you something right before you get started, and just have you look this over before we do your journey kickoff call. We're going to hop back on the call right before you get started. But this gives you an opportunity to kind of look over some things, and we'll go over that on that call. And then, of course, just making sure that you're adding them to, your Facebook support group. I always ask, are we friends on Facebook? If we're not friends, do you mind if I add you as one of my friends? And then, I think that it would be super helpful for you if I added you to our Facebook support group. Is that okay? You will look around there and be able to see, some helpful tips. People are always giving encouragement, ideas, different recipes. I think that you'll really find this very valuable. So, just showing them that there's value with that, and also encouraging them to engage, just basically referring them back to that when maybe they have like a question. I don't want to discount that, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute, as far as when they have a question to you and just pushing it off on Facebook. You don't want to do that. But anyways, I'll go into that in just a minute. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So track their order yourself. Maybe set a reminder on your phone or your calendar to check your email in a couple of days to see where that order is. And then when you find out where that is, that gives you a little bit of an idea of when you need to send that journey kickoff text. So when you see that order is about to arrive, send that journey kickoff text, and really go ahead and schedule that call. I also like to set up the expectation, let me know when you've watched this video, and then we can hop on a quick phone call, so that they know that it's going to not take too much of their time or yours. And it's also just saving you time because they are watching that video. Oftentimes I get a text saying, okay, just watched it. And then I'm able to set up that call. Sending the daily text, set a reminder in your calendar. Maybe you're saying, Lauren, day 1 through 4, to be able to coach them, or day 1 through 8 for the daily text, so that you know that you need to send that each morning. Schedule that tip call, for the week 1. And I usually do this on the journey kickoff call. So I always kind of set it up as, for your first week, we're actually going to hop on a call and do the check-in with my coach. He's been so helpful with me and my weight loss journey and my, journey to better health. I think that he's going to really be able to give you some great tips to basically propel you into the next part of your journey. So I schedule that, and I'll usually have out my coach or another coach's calendar where I can say, all right, it looks like we could probably do next Wednesday or Thursday at about 4 o'clock. Which day works better for you? And schedule it right then and there. And then after you do that after you do the tip call, go ahead and create that 3-way messenger with, you, your client, and your coach. So there's the added support. One of the things that I love about our business is that we just have such a great model. We don't have a lot of stuff. I'm sure many of you have maybe been in some other businesses where you just have products and binders and folders and catalogs, everything that you have to kind of keep track of. We are so fortunate that all we have to do is work this business with a binder and a cell phone, maybe a computer. That's helpful. But how awesome is that? You can take this on the go. So your binder system, what we want to do is when you have, somebody that's ordered, well, that's kind of they're waiting to start and putting that health assessment that you've completed in the front. Then what you're doing as they are starting their journey, especially the initial part, that's that fat burn part. These people are so important. You're checking in with them daily. You're coaching them into a strong fat burn, and you're doing phone calls. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But making sure that you're setting that as a reminder in your phone, and that's a very important part of your binder system. Then the next part is the journey started. So you're kind of moving that to, basically I schedule it out as, and you can see in like the calendar that I have on the screen, that's 2 days a week. I've blocked that off. So make that a rock in your calendar, and setting the expectation with that client, ask which day they prefer and move that to a weekly check-in with them. And then there's the follow-up. So these are the not yets, right? These are just the not ready yets. They're not no's, they're just not yets. And I always kind of like to say, would you mind if I checked in with you from time to time to see how you're doing with your health goals? Maybe offer some tips or some recipes that we found helpful, within my community. And I always get a yes. I have never had a no. So then, with that follow-up system, it's that you're scheduling it for your follow-up Fridays, or, putting that in your calendar. So be an outstanding coach. Well, which do you want to be? Let me share the difference of a magician versus a hero. A hero, when you're a hero coach, they rely on you. You do everything, okay? You'll be amazing to them, but you're gonna burn out. When you're a magician, you're a guide. You're walking alongside them. You're empowering them. You're showing them what's possible, and you're really just leaning into them to have and own their own journey. Okay. Consistency. The best thing about this business is that it's flexible, but it's not optional. So hear me out on that, guys. This business is flexible, but it's not optional. So if you have your client support days on Monday and something comes up, okay, and you are for some reason not able to make those client calls, then you move that block to another day or time, okay, and make up those calls. Guide instead of give. So we have all had those clients who say something like, "Can I have popcorn on plan?" And what we like to do is really we want to say, "Did you check the guide? I can give you some info, but I want to make sure you know where to find it if you can't reach me." Okay. So I'm not like pushing them, and I don't want them to feel put off. But if you keep giving them the answer, you're teaching them that coaching would actually be a lot of work. Okay. And this way it teaches them to own their own journey and just, again, empowers them. Value. When we're showing this value, then what's amazing is that these people are going to be amazing advocates for us and referral sources, and possibly, partners with us in business. So when you show up, or if coaching looks too hard, they will not want to join us, right? We want to show them that this is easy and supportive. We want to create ambassadors. So giving value and creating empowerment. You don't have to say on these calls, this is what I've loved and I've learned, and it's been a shift. I remember doing these calls and being like, oh man, I don't have to just talk about weight loss. You don't have to say, how much weight did you lose this week? Or just checking in. We're not coaching a weight loss program, right, guys? So you could do a whole call and not even mention weight loss, but you've provided them with more tools and empowerment to find success by celebrating and guiding them. They're most likely going to tell you anyway what their, accomplishments, whether that be weight loss or those non-scale victories are. But we want to really just kind of make this conversation guided as far as focusing on maybe some non-scale victories. We want to definitely reference the Habits of Health guide or the Habits of Health book. So doing that regularly, maybe just saying, what did you like about chapter 17 on sleep? What did you learn this week with that? Asking open-ended questions. So how much water are you drinking? you know, really just kind of getting to the nitty gritty of it. When you're asking, if you just said, did you get your water in? Guess what they're going to say? Put it in the chat group. They're going to say yes, right? But we don't know how much. So it's just a systems check too. Develop the relationship. So really make it a goal. I love this. Oh my gosh, it's so great. Find out 1 to 2 new things about the people that you're working with each week. Whether it's something with their family, their work, recreation. You know, this really develops that relationship. It's showing that you care. Make notes in the health assessments when you're doing these check-ins of what you found out so that you can reference back to that. Because what happens is you're going to discover an area of need. Okay. Somebody, you know, John might be talking about stress at work. And then, you know, you can really open up that conversation. Well, is that serving you? Well, what would you like to do? You know, if you could see yourself somewhere else being successful and being happy, what would that look like? How is that affecting your relationships? And then, you know, hopefully, pretty much always that can go into some aspect of our, you know, component, maybe with coaching and with the business part of it. So best practices, we are calling our clients each week, not texting. There's such a great importance and value with doing voice to voice. Calls can be short. I'm showing you right here, this was an outgoing call that I did with a client, coaching them into fat burn for, I think it was like day 2. That call was 7 minutes, okay? They don't need to be very long. On, you know, your client support days, make those rocks in your calendar, 1 to 2 days. And then, of course, integrating clients, whether that's through Facebook, the Habits of Health calls that we have on Wednesday nights. Did you guys know that we have those? You know, sending them a direct text message, reminding them of that, and then also incorporating that on the calls. You mentioned that you really want to work on maybe mindfulness with eating. Well, they're doing a great call on that this week. Or here's a recording of a past one that they've done, so you can catch it in some time that you have available. So then, of course, we're always dripping, layering, planting coaching early and often. Hear me out. Early and often. So how can we do that? You know, when you call them, what's up, coach? You ready to coach me? That's so awesome that you did that. I didn't even think of that. Are you ready to coach me? I need some of that. Who's noticing? What are they saying? Okay, are you going to coach them? And going from there. So putting it all together, really what we're doing, what happens when coaches provide systematic and quality client support, you're really setting them up for success. And you're doing this by integrating clients who feel valued. You're typically going to be running a high frontline volume by doing this, and it's systematic, so it's easier for you. People trust you to send referrals. And better yet, maybe they end up coaching themselves, right? You have a great pre-coach funnel and they're already integrated. A consistent income. We get paid well to do what we do, right? And then, of course, just a solid, duplicable business. Because then as you grow, if that's your desire, then this business is grown, you know, downline, and you know that it's pretty solid, that it's being taught throughout. So I'm going to leave you with this. If it comes up, let's see if it comes up. Sorry, guys. Oh, being a little slow with everything. I'm sorry, guys. All right, here it comes. Might have a little bit of trouble seeing this, but it's from John Maxwell, and it just says, we don't attract who we want, we attract who we are. So I encourage you to be that person, to be that support system for your clients, so that then you attract more people like you, right? Okay. I hope that is helpful.
Oh, I think we would say it was helpful. My gosh, what is going on this morning? I told you guys, didn't I? Was that helpful, you guys? If that was helpful, put a 3 in the chat group for me, please. I almost don't even want to do my segment because I'm going to mess it up. I mean, we've just had so many amazing people. I don't want to mess up this flow. My goodness. Casey, thank you so much for that brilliance, for that expertise. I mean, you guys, this is one of those trainings you'll want to replay and watch back all this week. Because remember, what makes these boot camps so powerful, why I fully believe in my heart, whatever your goals are, we'll be able to do, because we build off of 1 week to the next, right? We're not skipping any of these foundations. And you see, we're bringing the best of the best. So stick with me. I'm gonna limit this to about 6 minutes. Then we'll do action steps, and then we'll open it up for your questions. Is that fair? And if you have to go, don't worry about it. I'll put the playback up, and everything Casey just sort of touched on, we'll make sure to have the slides up. And if you look in our bootcamp group, I've already put the step-by-step client support in the files, okay? So all the links and all those things that you'll need that Casey just looked at. So if you look in our breakout bootcamp, those things are already up in the file. So let me see if my screen actually shares this time. And if not, maybe that's just kind of God's way of telling me that it ain't the right time to do this. And maybe we'll do it next week. So I cannot see anyone. So if you can't see this screen, then I guess the last time I got at least 75 text messages saying it was just a blank screen. They can see it. Hallelujah. Okay, so what I was saying before, which may not even be pertinent now, is we have foundations in this business. And so as you can see from the way Karen started out, is the first foundation is what? A heart to help people. And that's really the basics and the beginnings of our transformational piece of this business. So sometimes we go into transactional just assuming that you understand that we understand that foundation number one is what. So sometimes we'll skip past that because we just assume that you understand this already because this is why we're here. But sometimes assuming can do what? Make a what out of you and maybe me. An apple, right? An apple, of course, that's what it is. So I want you to understand that there are foundations. Foundation number one is critical. So a lot of you guys are brand new. I'm not going to spend much time on this. However, talking about the steps of this business, the first step is moving to senior coach as quickly as possible. And so moving to senior coach, obviously, we're going to be supporting 5 or more clients. Now, I believe for a coach, when we start coaches and us as new coaches, I believe this can happen as soon as 10 days, 15 days, certainly 30 days. But even if it took 50 days, no big deal. This is the first step along our path. And we see that we are now starting to create these stories. Remember Don talked about the miracle working process of this business? That's why I love this business, because we create miracles. We start with nothing, and then all of a sudden we have something that's amazing, and we can watch this happen. So this is the path to your business. You're looking at it. Most of us started as clients, and that's okay. Most of us started, maybe some of us started and we were not clients, and that's okay as well. But we probably had a 3-way conversation. And we started out as a new coach, then we moved to senior coach, then blended executive director, and then FIBC, and on into FIBL, fully integrated business leader. So let's look at that a little bit. So whenever you see this slide, you know we're going to start talking about some money a little bit. But I want you to go back to foundation number one, because that's where we start, right? So here's some hypothetical examples of if we just support clients only. And I'm not going to get into the weeds of this because we're over time, but I want you to understand that supporting clients only, Optavia has made it so that we can do very, very well from a financial standpoint by doing very, very good. You know, if you just look at maybe a certified director, you know, just supporting 15 clients, Optavia is going to pay you $1,500 a month. Can you believe that? I mean, that's insane. And if we move into a certified executive director with 18 clients, then we have already matched on a part-time basis what a lot of people are earning full-time. I mean, this changes lives. Just so we can see how many of you guys on this training are being paid at or above executive director spot. Just put a 4 in a chat group. How many of you guys are right now being paid at an executive director or above spot. And I know there should be hundreds, because just within my group alone, there's over 100 people who are paid at or above executive director, over 100. It's insane. So this is something that we know that coaches can do, but we don't want to move to executive director just with all clients. We want to do it via the blended path. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, because we can see that the incomes just from doing good, we can start to become financially blessed abundantly and being blessed very, very, very well. And so I want to start talking about really this blended path and why it's important. So Priscilla really gave us the breakdown of the 3 by 3 by 3. So really Optavia has really changed the way that they pay us about 3 or 4 years ago. The challenge is some coaches are still coaching in a method of an old compensation plan. We have a new compensation plan. This is why going FIBC, this is why going integrated is so important. So Optavia has chosen a point system to grow using the blended path to accelerate and build your business that goes beyond the clients that you support. Okay, and this is where we really start to talk about legacy and security and paying income for it. So just quickly understanding the points, and I won't get into the map today, I'll save it for next week. But just so that you know, there's 2 ways that we earn points as a coach. We earn 1 point for every 1,200 we have in frontline volume and having at least 5 ordering entities. So if you are a senior coach right now, you have at least 1 point, okay? Now we earn another point for every qualified senior coach team and senior coach line of business. Okay, so like Casey, who just jumped off, she is a senior coach line of business within my organization. So there I get 1 point for her line of business. Does this make sense? This is very important to understand how to build the blended path, because you want to reach executive director via the blended path, and we want to help our coaches do it as well. So there's 5 different ways to go executive director. This is very important. What we used to do in history when I started is we said we're going to go executive director the 5-in-1 style. Okay, we're going to race out to go and support about 20, 25 clients and have our frontline volume be 6,000. And this way we had no senior coach teams, but we were executive director. Obviously 6,000 divided by 12 gives us 5 points. If we have 5 points, then we're executive director. Now, what we're doing and what we're seeing these days is more of this, the 4-in-1 and the 3-in-2, okay? So a lot of coaches now are going executive director via the blended path. They're not doing it with all clients. They're doing it with some clients, 15 clients or so, and 1 senior coach line of business, at least 1. Does this make sense? Some coaches are supporting about 12 clients, and they have 2 senior coach lines of business. Why is this important? Well, I'm going to show you. Before, and I'll skip this slide, before we would have businesses that were lopsided like this. It was not a balanced business. So if we were just supporting all clients, then you would see that scale would be tipped. And what would happen if those clients decided, well, I'm going to take a couple months off? Then your business would literally fall over. And most coaches were not emotionally strong enough to handle this. So what we do now is we have very balanced business. How do we do that? Because we understand that for about every 4 to 5 clients you have, and I want you to really understand me, because some of you guys don't really know this yet, but just allow me to infiltrate your brain really fast from doing this for about 6 years. There is at least 2 to 3 coaches, but let's just say there's 1 coach that's in those 4 to 5 clients, okay? So out of every 4 to 5 clients you have right now, there's at least 1 coach that's in there. You might not just know it yet, but they are. And they may not show themselves this month, but they will show themselves down the line. So if you're carrying 20 clients right now and you have no coaches, you have this, and your business is going to fall over. I'm not saying it might fall over. I'm telling you it is going to fall over. So we want to balance business. So if I have about 20 clients, how many coaches are in that client base? Put it in the chat group. If I have 20 clients, how many coaches do I have in that client base? I want everyone to put it in the chat group because I want you to understand this principle. What I don't want to do is to encourage you or help you build a business that's going to fall over. I want to encourage all of us, because we're all family, the wisdom of the geese, to build structured, stable businesses that will last longer than we will last. We will die and your business will continue on if you build it the proper way. If you don't, then it's going to look like this. If you do, then you are going to have equities far beyond what you can even imagine right now. Okay, so understanding this client to coach ratio is key. So we want to work with our support teams, because at the beginning you don't really even know that there's coaches that are in there, but they are. So this is where our support teams are really going to partner with us and can start to help us identify those new coaches. But if you understand this ratio, remember, you are going to find that in which you seek. So if you know that for every 5 clients you have, there's at least 1 to 2 coaches in there, you're looking for it, you got your coach goggles on, guess what you're going to find every single time if you're actually looking for it. But if you don't even know to look for it, guess what you're not going to find. So understanding this client to coach ratio is key to having this. Does this make sense? And this is what you want. There's no question about it. So next week, I'll get more into the map and start to show you how to systematically use the map to help you accelerate this process. Is that fair? All right, you guys. Woo! We have gone over, but wasn't this good stuff? Are you guys glad? Remember, at the beginning of this call, I said, put in 3 things that you're grateful for. Yes? What I'm grateful for is you. It's for us. It's for what we do. And I think about it so much, and I'm so appreciative to all the coaches that jumped on to give us value. So let's talk about these action steps, then we'll get you guys out of here. So action steps, here they are. Be consistent in your 3 by 3 by 3. This is the answer to building a huge funnel of clients, but it's about consistency. No consistency, there's a break in that gap. You are going to be a coach that says, I don't understand why no clients are coming, because you're not consistent. We have to learn to work in structure in all areas of our lives. Okay, so if you've fallen in a trap where you're allowing your clients to dictate your schedule, go back and clean up that mess, okay, and start working the structure as Casey outlined to us. The next action step is if you've fallen into a texting relationship with your clients, then go back and clean up that mess and start working in structure. If not, you're going to start saying things like, my clients are falling off and, no one wants to do this and this is taking too much time and all these things that no, if we start to learn to work in structure and we clean up some of these messy systems, you're going to have a very systematic business, which is great. And then what's the last thing I have? So let's just stop there. So be consistent this week with the 3 by 3 by 3. Oh, my last one was go into your client base. Okay. For every 5 clients, I want you to put a star or circle at least 2 people in that client base that you can see being an amazing coach, because they are. I didn't know I was a coach. Casey told me she wasn't going to coach. Okay, like 97% of people on this call, you said that you were not going to coach. And yet here you are, 200 plus people on this morning, and you're sitting here coaching. So there's tons of coaches in that client base. Okay, so for every 5 clients you have, put a star, or asterisk, or circle at least 1 to 2 of those people, because they are coaches. And next week we'll start to identify How do we start to have them realize this? So love you guys. Those are the action steps. Thank you for everyone that's been on, all the trainers. Karen, my gosh, opening up so well. Don helping us break through. Priscilla, just, whoa, mind blowing us. Casey following that up, which was so hard to do. And then me probably messing it up after all of your amazingness. But I appreciate you guys so much. We'll have the recording up today. So let's stop this recording, and then we will stay on. I will stay on to answer any questions.